The Duchess of Kent's funeral breaks 500 years of royal tradition. Welcome, royal watchers, to Crown Chronicles, the home of truth, tradition, and tantalizing royal secrets. Crown. If you love uncovering the hidden stories behind palace walls, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because today's episode reveals something truly extraordinary, a royal funeral that has shaken centuries of monarchy protocol. The Duchess of Kent's recent funeral didn't just mark the end of an era, it broke 500 years of royal tradition. And the reasons why have left royal insiders whispering and historians stunned. Let's dive into the heart of this remarkable royal moment. Katharine, Duchess of Kent, was never the kind of royal to follow the rules. From the moment she married into the British royal family in 1961, she carved her own path, sometimes quietly, sometimes defiantly, but always with grace. Married to Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, the Queen's first cousin, Katharine spent decades serving the monarchy with dignity. But her life, and now her passing, tell a story of a woman who refused to let royal expectations define her. When news broke of her passing at the age of 92, the mood at Windsor was one of quiet sorrow. To many, the Duchess was a symbol of a gentler age, a link between the stoic post-war royals and the modern Windsors we know today. Yet, even in death, Katharine remained true to herself, choosing a farewell that stunned those who know the monarchy's rigid traditions, because unlike any royal funeral before her, stretching back 5 centuries, the Duchess of Kent ceremony was intensely private, unorthodox, and deeply personal. There were no public processions through Windsor. No gun salutes, no ceremonial guards in glittering uniforms, no public lying in state. Instead, the Duchess had left explicit instructions. She wanted her funeral to be simple, spiritual, and human. Royal watchers were taken aback. After all, for centuries, royal funerals have followed strict ceremonial blueprints, steeped in grandeur and symbolism. From Queen Victoria's grand cortege to the solemn state funerals of the Queen Mother and Queen Elizabeth II, these events have always served as both mourning rituals and public theater. But Katharine's wishes were different. According to close friends, she had requested that there be no pomp or pageantry, only music, reflection, and peace. Her coffin, simple and unadorned, was reportedly carried not by military guards but by family and close friends. No cameras. No global broadcast. No sea of black-coated courtiers marching in step, and perhaps most shocking of all, no royal family members in military uniform, in a move that broke more than half a millennium of royal custom. The men of the family, including her husband the Duke of Kent and other royal cousins, attended the service in formal mourning attire rather than the traditional military dress. It was a quiet but powerful statement, one that reflected the Duchess's lifelong rejection of the monarchy's more rigid expectations. For those who followed her life, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Katharine was never a typical royal. In the 1990s, she made history by converting to Catholicism, the first senior royal to do so since the 18th century. It was a bold, even scandalous decision at the time, given that British law once forbade Catholics from marrying into the royal family. Yet the Duchess stood firm, guided by faith and conviction. Queen Elizabeth, in her quiet way, respected her choice, though it caused quite a stir among traditionalists. She was also known for her humility and compassion. Long before modern royals like William and Harry began talking about connecting with ordinary people, the Duchess of Kent was already living that ideal. She volunteered at schools, taught music to underprivileged children, and often traveled anonymously on the London Underground. Imagine that, a duchess, blending into the crowd, carrying her handbag and quietly living among the people. It's that spirit, quiet, dignified, and deeply human, that shaped the tone of her funeral. Sources close to the family say the service reflected the Duchess's love of music and teaching. There were no royal trumpets or choral fanfare from Westminster Abbey. Instead, a small ensemble played hymns she cherished during her years as a music teacher. Former students from her teaching days are said to have attended, paying their respects to the woman who taught them to believe in themselves, not titles. Even the choice of location broke tradition. Rather than a grand royal chapel filled with aristocrats, the service took place at a modest church near Windsor, a place she had quietly visited for years. Some of her final wishes reportedly included being buried not in the traditional royal vaults, but in a simple grave, close to the people she served. To many, her funeral felt like the end of an era, the closing chapter of the Queen's generation. But it also raised an intriguing question: is this the future of the monarchy? In recent years, King Charles III has spoken openly about a slimmed-down monarchy, one that's less about pomp and more about purpose. And Katharine's farewell may be the first real glimpse of what that looks like, a royal funeral that values authenticity over spectacle, faith over formality, and individuality over institution. Royal observers have pointed out that this moment may reshape how future royal funerals are planned. Could Charles or even William someday follow this example, choosing a more personal farewell rather than a state spectacle? Or was the Duchess of Kent simply a one-of-a-kind figure who dared to defy tradition one last time? One thing is certain: her quiet rebellion, even in death, has left a powerful mark on royal history. Among those attending were senior royals, including King Charles and Queen Camilla, the Prince of Wales, and Princess Anne. Yet even their presence was understated: no grand carriages, no televised procession. The king, who reportedly admired the Duchess's spiritual depth, was said to have been moved to tears. Behind palace walls, insiders say Katharine's passing has struck an emotional chord. For Charles and his siblings, she was a reminder of their mother's generation, of duty mixed with grace, of a time before scandal overshadowed service, as one royal aide quietly told the press. The Duchess of Kent was never loud, but her dignity spoke volumes. And perhaps that's why her funeral, stripped of ceremony, rich in humanity, has captured the public's imagination. In a monarchy often defined by grandeur, Katharine reminded everyone that royalty isn't about crowns or carriages, but about character. So while history will remember her as the Duchess of Kent, her legacy may be something even greater: the royal who dared to say goodbye her own way, a farewell that broke 500 years of royal tradition. And, in doing so, reminded us all that even in the most powerful family in the world, humanity always shines brightest. Thank you for joining us here on Crown Chronicles, your royal home for truth, history, and the hidden stories behind the grandeur. If you found this episode fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Crown, because in the world of royalty, even endings can rewrite history.